It is. It's become acceptable to walk away from something that doesn't feel good. And that's the problem, is that parents, we have to understand that we're not in the business of allowing our children to always feel good. While we love on them unconditionally, right? The idea of feeling good is unrealistic. It does not provide for any sort of success in life, because we're going to go through things that don't feel good. But when we're raising our children to be like, oh, I could just walk away because it doesn't feel right, it's uncomfortable, I don't like that, yeah, I can't breathe, right? Well, meaning as far as like you're out of breath because you're working hard, it's going to create a resilience to fight through those uncomfortable moments. And that resilience is what really breeds success in all things life related. So when you allow your children to just not show up, you're telling them it's okay to not show up for themselves too. And what does that translate to in the grand scheme of overall self esteem and confidence growing forward? Let's also take into consideration that we are not walking through life alone, nor should we ever think we should do life alone. So, when you're allowing your children not to show up for a team sport where they're an active player in that realm, you're then telling them that it's okay to let other people suffer too. And it's okay to let other people, you know, pick up the pieces that you're essentially dropping the ball on. And now you're telling your child that, no, you're going to go about life alone and not nurture the right relationships. And what that translates to later on in life is the inability to nurture any relationship, whether it's with your family, your friends, building true friendships, your teammates, right? If you're going to continue to play some sort of a team sport, or even if it's an individual sport, there's still a team element to it because you're dealing with the coach. How are you ever going to build a relationship with a coach, or let's say teachers, professors? And then let's move it forward into the business world. You're going to have a boss. You're going to have somebody you have to work with. There is no entrepreneur, even if you're an individual entrepreneur owning your own sole proprietorship, you're answering to someone somewhere.
Oh yeah, you are.
So that you have to understand that you have to show up regardless of it being uncomfortable. And yeah, even in life, if you're a sole proprietor, the discomfort is extreme, especially when tax season rolls around, you got to answer your accountant. So it's the domino effect, right? And it really does begin at the elementary level, in when the child's brain begins to grow, which is 7 years old. And that's what a lot of parents don't realize is you think you're going to teach a lesson later on, because at 7, 8, 9, they're still children. 100%. Do not take that innocence away from them. I will absolutely push for you to remain innocent within your childlike behavior that you allow them to exhibit. But that is also where the brain begins to learn, comprehend, and retain information. So, your idea of allowing your children to even quit at such a young age in any aspect of life, it starts at that young age. And that's when we have to really pay attention to what we're doing as far as parents and the example we're setting, and also what we're allowing.
Yeah, it's the allowing that's really scary, and as soon as something is uncomfortable or, like you said, doesn't feel good, then the parent's like, "Okay, we'll make it right, we'll fix it, and we'll make sure you're happy now and feel great." And I recently just had, one of my athletes say that her teammate quit halfway through the season, and the team has already been down. They have a ton of injuries, they hardly have any subs in game, so they've been low on numbers already. One of her teammates quit halfway through the season just because she didn't like being on the team anymore and because the subs were low. And I'm like, "Well, congrats, you just lowered the subs more
Right.
and you let your teammates down even more." But the worst part is the parents allowed this to happen, knowing that the team was struggling for subs.
Which speaks to, it's not the child's fault. As much as we want to sit there and place blame, it's not the child's fault. They are a direct product of the upbringing they're experiencing, which is the parenting. And this is where parents, I will sit there and not tickle your ears any step of the way and say, you're failing at the most important job you have right now, which is raising your children. While you think it might be to provide the lifestyle for them, that's incorrect, because our jobs as parents is to raise our children as individuals that we ultimately release into the wild that we can be proud of. And if you're proud of somebody who's a quitter, then that speaks to your character. And now we have to do some deep diving into how maybe you see yourself and why. but that's a whole nother story.
Well, I have a question about that. So when you tell parents this, "Hey, you need to change your parenting style," that can feel like a personal attack to them and really trigger them. How do people deal with that? Or have you found people are open to it and they realize, "Oh shoot, I am the problem. My kid is lazy. My kid is entitled and it's my fault."
Hey guys, just want to take a quick moment to shout out our sponsor, Simply Faster, and one of my favorite speed timing systems from them, the Freelap. I use it for my own sprint training as well as for my athletes, and they love it. It's super easy to set up, you can take it to the field on your own, and you can get accurate speed times to track your progress. Check the Freelap link in the caption below to start adding timing into your speed sessions. If you know me, you know I love my Freelap. If you're serious about speed, it's time to start timing.
So it's all in delivery, right? So ultimately, it does come down to how we communicate the message we're trying to convey. I obviously, I'm not going to be like, you suck at parenting. It is going to come down to, can you explain to me how you see your child as being a success in different areas of their life right now? What is their percent? Because it could be all lost in translation. They may not see it, or they may be so worried that if they put a strong arm or discipline their kids in a way that is considered harder than most, that their child's going to respond or react in a way that is dramatic, um, or concerning in behavior patterns, because again, we're dealing with a different society and we're dealing with different social elements that I personally didn't have growing up. So as a parent in this world now, it's terrifying. So we walk on eggshells with certain things. And our children are experiencing that it is okay to be up in your feels, and that mental health is something that is so widely accepted. And I'm a mental health professional, so I'm not going to say that it's something to look down upon naturally. But we shouldn't need therapy for 12, 13-year olds in the way we do nowadays, because it's become just so acceptable to be in our fields. So again, it's discussing with the parents what their perception is, what their perspective is on how they're handling their children, allowing them to explain to me how they feel their parenting style is a success. And then we compare and contrast the different absolutes versus what their perception is, right? And then we take it from there and we grow from there. And then just providing to them the ultimate studies that are out there showing that maybe that parenting style is not beneficial for their individual child or children, depending. Every child is different, of course, and do some have very specific needs, 100% exceptions to all rules. But the majority of the time, when you're talking about the young ones, 9, 10, 11, they need discipline. They need rules and regulations, and they need their parents to show up and enforce them with consequence. And that's the problem too, is parents are not enforcing the consequence. They speak a good game, but is there the follow through?
Discipline's one that I love talking about because as a coach, I see it right before my eyes, the kids who are disciplined and the kids who are not. And there's been moments in my gym where I've had to call athletes out. And I'm talking like 11, 12, 13-year-old girls where I call them out. I'm like, hey, you gave up on that one. You
Yeah.
should have gotten right back up and won the ball back or won this race back during our speed drills. And when I call them out, it's a complete meltdown and I'm like, is this the first time someone has corrected you and called you out for your lack of effort?